Dear ones, you have started watching our videos on this channel, and we received a very reasonable, logical question from you. We spoke about something called onom, and naturally, the question came up, what is it? We couldn't find anything about it anywhere. We found it very interesting, so let's talk about it. Before we go any deeper into this topic together, please watch the first episode of the spiritual project Untold Story of Love. It's short, about 10 minutes. Please pause this video and watch it now. The link is in the description. In that first episode, you'll be able to see visually what onome is. And after watching it, please come back to this video. So, what is onome? From a scientific point of view, when a child is conceived, and I hope you know how this happens, in the fertilized egg, there are X and Y chromosomes. You have certainly studied this in biology. Both X and Y chromosomes are present at the same time, and they begin to develop. At a certain point, one of these chromosomes becomes less active while the other continues to develop more actively. And whichever one is more active is the one that determines the sex of the child. This is how a boy or a girl is formed. By the way, ancient cultures knew that up to a certain moment, while both X and Y chromosomes are developing together in the mother's womb, it is possible to influence this process through spiritual and energetic practices. And through this, the formation of the child's sex can be influenced. This is truly so. In ancient times, a woman knew in advance whether she would have a boy or a girl. It was not considered a miracle or a surprise or something random. This process was spiritually controlled. If you want to know more about this, feel free to leave us a message. At the moment when one of the chromosomes begins to develop more actively, it becomes responsible for the formation of the physical body, the sex of the child, and the qualities that will manifest, including energetic qualities and traits of character. And what does the other chromosome do? It begins to form everything that remains on the subtle level. It is responsible for the formation of the aura and another set of qualities that remain in the unmanifested world. The physical world is the manifested world. This is where the sex and part of the qualities appear. The other chromosome forms the aura and the subtle bodies where other paired qualities develop. For example, if in the manifested world a person may have the quality of laziness, then in the unmanifested world the quality of activity is formed. Thus, when a child is born, everything already exists within them. If we take the physical body together with the aura, this whole combination is the human being. Everything exists inside. You've probably heard the story that people were once like gods, and that the gods divided humans in half so they could not reach the divine level. That is why people spend their whole lives searching for their perfect half. That story is slightly different in reality. In truth, a person is divided within themselves. Some qualities are manifested while others are not manifested and remain in the aura. These qualities need to be developed. They remain on the energetic level. Spiritual development is exactly the process through which, by managing our energy, we develop these unmanifested qualities within ourselves. A self-sufficient person is someone whose qualities are fully developed and under their control. Look how interesting this is. A person needs kindness and fury, the ability to be lazy and to be active. For example, why do we need the quality of laziness? It needs to be under control. Look at how many people suffer from insomnia. Why? Because they cannot switch on this lazy state at the right time in order to fall asleep. Instead, in the evening, activity suddenly turns on, watching TV, doing things, and they cannot fall asleep until morning. Do you see this? It is the inability to manage these energetic qualities. Or imagine you're called in by your boss and your boss is criticizing you. In that moment, the right thing to switch on is not aggression. To say, you're right, I made a mistake, I will fix it. And simply let the criticism pass without resistance. Then the conflict ends quickly. You agree, you correct your work, and the normal workflow continues. But the conflict continues if aggression turns on, if there is resistance. Do you see? We can learn to manage these qualities. A spiritual person is someone who manages this.
She asked everyone to stand up, inviting them to practice. Arthur tried to relax and tune in as much as possible to the upcoming practice. Following the ringing and enchanting voice of the woman, he sank deep into himself and remembered the amazing, pure romantic feeling of elation, the sincere delight of the first youthful love. Suddenly, the boy felt the presence of someone good, light, beautiful, holy. The next moment, Arthur saw his ideal vividly and felt an emotional connection with it. He began to cry, experiencing a surge of joy, admiration for beauty, tenderness, and kindness. He cried with delight that he had found in himself what he had long sought and did not know where to find. He began to communicate with Onome, and beautiful poems were born in his heart, which he dedicated to her.
So what does this have to do with Onome? Onome is our aura. It is our unmanifested qualities. When we perform the practice of merging with Onome, we unite with our other half, with those qualities that are unmanifested within us. And when we direct our Onome toward another partner, that is when we become an ideal couple. When a person performs this practice of merging with Onome on the physical level, Onome invites into their life the partner who fully matches them in all qualities and in all aspects. In this case, there is perfect resonance. Through the practice of merging with Onome, our unmanifested talents and qualities are revealed. We enter our best state and become self-sufficient ourselves. Good, ideal relationships are possible only between two self-sufficient, spiritual, developing people. If people do not develop and are not self-sufficient, then they look for a partner who compensates for their deficiencies. This can be illustrated with an unpleasant image. For example, one person is blind and the other is deaf. Together, they have one pair of eyes and one pair of ears. One has legs, the other has arms. It's an unpleasant image, but it reflects the reality. If we have not developed ourselves, if we have not reached a self-sufficiency, then the partner next to us becomes like a crutch. And that is why conflicts arise. Something is undeveloped in me, something is undeveloped in them, and this leads to constant conflict. But if we follow the path of knowing ourselves As ancient spiritual knowledge teaches us, know yourself, then we will make the right choice of the person who can truly be beside us. When we know ourselves and reveal the powers hidden in our aura, our unmanifested qualities, we become a self-sufficient being. Then Onome, our ideal cosmic half, helps us find such a partner in life. And a connection occurs with a physical person who expresses the necessary qualities and becomes an ideal partner. Now, after this video, once again, watch the first episode of the unique spiritual project Untold Story of Love and pay attention to the moments of connection between Arthur and Alice. And ask yourself, who chose whom? Notice that it was Alice who chose Arthur. Alice had been studying in our spiritual school long before Arthur arrived. She practiced, she developed this power of Onome, her unmanifested spiritual qualities, and opened her feminine power. Because of this, she was able to see that Arthur matched her energetic structure. Onome guided her and showed her that Arthur would be the one with whom she would have a true spiritual and harmonious relationship. And she was right. You probably noticed at the end of the first episode that Arthur has such nobility of soul and such developed qualities that at their very first meeting, he gave everything to Alice. He had been saving money for an expensive motorcycle. But when he realized that the woman in front of him was his one and only spiritual woman, he turned all that money into gifts and support for his future wife. I believe you will find this very interesting. Continue watching this series, episode by episode, and you will see that a true spiritual couple is capable of going through any difficulties together. Even when they were in an accident and Alice ended up in a wheelchair, their resonance between their souls and their partnership was so strong that Arthur did everything to restore his wife's ability to walk. And then observe what happens next, how conception, marriage, and their entire path unfolds according to ancient spiritual laws. Now, when you finish watching this film, answer one question for yourself. What kind of relationship do you want? If you want relationships like these, then go ahead and watch this spiritual project again from the beginning. This time, you will be watching it with a different inner intention. You will begin to take from it the guidance and the insights. What exactly Alice did to create such a relationship. Go forward. This is a practical film, a practical project. It contains many clear and concrete practices and recommendations. It was created specifically so that any woman speaking any language after watching this spiritual project can immediately begin to change her life through spiritual actions, just as Alice did. Send us your questions. And did you know that you can meet in person the very spiritual teachers who taught Arthur and Alice? This is our spiritual school. These are live seminars that we conduct in all languages on all continents. We are looking for students who are truly ready for spiritual development and understand how important this is. If you feel that you are one of them, write to us, receive the schedule, choose the seminar closest to you, and come to study. Just as Alice, Arthur, and all the other heroes of this unique spiritual project did. We are waiting for you. All links are in the description. We wish you a meaningful and conscious viewing of the spiritual project Untold Story of Love.